Hi guys, welcome to this week's edition of Insta Jamm. I'm Ollie, the piano tutor, and today will be part one in an improvisation series. So we're going to be looking at the basic forms of improvisation first of all. So the very basic, most basic form of improvisation that we can use is chord tones. Now what chord tones are the notes that make up a chord. So we'll try this in C. So C major, the chord tones in that would be C, E, G. Now this is a really handy way if you've never done improvisation before. This is something that I definitely recommend you starting with. If you have, maybe you could skip on and move on to more of the pentatonic stuff that I'll be talking about later. But if you've never done improvisation before, this is a really good start to getting used to improvising. So we'll take chord tones. We'll take a really simple chord progression. We'll take C, F, and G. And we're going to improvise just using those chord tones. Now, don't worry, it's not going to have the most interesting sound, but the idea is they're experimenting with rhythm and just creating melodies just with the notes that we're given. So. Now, because you haven't got that many notes to actually use, because we're only using chord tones, try and experiment more with rhythm. And obviously, you've got those notes, but then them notes you can go up the octaves or down the octaves, and you really can create a melody just using those notes. So try that. Try it on really simple chord progressions, give yourself 3 chords, and try looping that over and over again. And if you can, play the chords with the left hand, and then improvise using your right hand. So get used to kind of changing with that chord progression. So the next step that we can look at when we're improvising is using pentatonic scales. Now, pentatonic scales are 5-note scales that come from the major scale. So again, I'll keep this in C. The notes that we use in pentatonic scales are the 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. So the scale would sound like this. Now, this is a really nice way of going straight into the improvisation. So we'll look at the key of C, and I'll accompany myself again, play a really simple chord progression, and just improvise just using that scale, and you can get some really nice sounds. So there, as you can see here, you can hear, we can get some really nice sounds just using pentatonic scales. So we'll look at minor pentatonics now. So we'll play a minor chord, take C minor. In minor pentatonics, what we have is the root, the flat 3, the 4, the 5, and the flat 7. So also remember guys, it's really handy to be practicing this in all the keys as well, so we get the awkward keys out the way too. That'll be really good. But I'll keep this just for example purposes in the key of C. Okay, C minor. And again, all I'm going to do is take a really simple chord progression. So I'll do a minor 1, 4, 5, so C minor, F minor to G minor, improvising using the C minor pentatonic scale. Again, guys, if you can accompany yourself with the left hand, that'd be really good. And if you want to kind of practice with a slightly bigger sound, a way that when I was learning how to improvise, was to go onto YouTube and look at backing tracks online. You can easily find, if you wanted like a blues or rock and roll track in a certain key, just type in rock and roll track in the key of D, and you'll get something that sounds really authentic, and it's a really good way of practicing your improvising. So yeah, I hope that helps, and I hope you can start kind of applying that to whatever you're doing. Tune in next time, and we'll have a part 2 of this series where we'll be looking at modes and slightly more advanced things. So I'll see you next week. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks.